When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
Breaking news. The U.S. press secretary says Maduro is not a legitimate president. He's the president of Venezuela. He is a legitimate president.
His parents were out of wedlock?
And say that they've been trying to overthrow his
My mother and father never married, and I'm ashamed.
And they've been trying, and you know, the United States has been trying to. They did coup Venezuela in 2002, I think, but then got Chavez, I think it was, got right back in power. And so they've been trying. And why? It's because there's oil underneath Venezuela. Venezuela has more oil than Saudi Arabia, and that's what this is about.
And the Koch brothers built them refineries a long time ago. They even get to use specialized Venezuela oil refinery.
That's right. So the Koch brothers built specialized because the oil under Venezuela is heavy crude, not light sweet crude, which comes from Saudi. So it's heavy crude, so it takes extra refining. And so the Koch brothers built these refineries right on the Gulf of Mexico in the United States, or the Gulf of America.
Yes, I was going to correct you.
And then Venezuela said, well, we're going to charge you more for the oil. And they were like, what? We're going to try and overthrow you. And that's what they've been doing ever since. They've been trying to overthrow him, and this is just more of it. But they're doing this now also. There's several reasons, but this is also another Epstein distraction. They're trying to do everything they can to distract you from Epstein. Everything,
Guaido.
Everything in there. The U.S. is prepared to use every element of American power to halt drug flows. So now they're saying Venezuela is exporting drugs. Hey, by the way, fun fact, did you know that all it takes for you to be standing on valuable, all it takes for you to be considered a illegitimate leader of a country is for your country to have a lot of natural resources? That's all it takes. Yeah. It's
Somebody
good.
needs some freedom.
Yeah, it's a good thing America came along and straightened you out. Yeah. Suddenly now the drug flow out of Venezuela is a problem. You know, when you're trying to distract from funding a genocide, why not just steer into the skid? Just start another war somewhere else. That's what this is.
But Venezuela's not on our border. Those drugs that they're flowing up must go through a lot of other places on the way to America, don't they? That's the point where the drugs have to be stopped at Venezuela?
Right? So Trump has mobilized 3 destroyers and 4,000 Marines going towards Venezuela right now. So that's what Trump's doing. Mr. Peace, Mr. No War, is going to go try to overthrow, with the military, another sovereign nation that is not a threat to the United States.
By the way, they won't win. We won't win.
And we're not. No.
It's like, what are you doing?
So here's somebody did a little report on this.
The Trump administration is now openly threatening to invade Venezuela, and there are already warships and Marines on the way. Listen to what Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt had to say about it.
Warships that are being sent to Venezuela, and there's 4,000 Marines on board. Are you looking at possibly on the ground there? What I will say with respect to Venezuela, President Trump has been very clear and consistent. He's prepared to use every element of American power to stop drugs from flooding into our country and to bring those responsible to justice. The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government of Venezuela. It is a narco-terror cartel. Maduro, it is the view of this administration, is not a legitimate president. He is a fugitive head of this cartel who has been indicted in the United States for trafficking drugs into the country. With that, I will leave you all, and we will see you later, if not tomorrow, and I look forward to taking more of your questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Caroline. Thanks for threatening to invade a sovereign nation that never attacked us, Caroline. Yeah.
And she sounds like she's using those drugs that she says are coming out of Venezuela. I don't know if you... Boy, hang on, there's more to this.
I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, leave it at that.
The media is so pathetic. And what an absurd justification for invading a country. Did you know that the more U.S. troops that have been sent to Colombia, the more that narco-trafficking has increased? And that's because the U.S. doesn't care about narco-trafficking. They're mad that Venezuela has a socialist government, which means Western corporations can't pillage all of their oil. Trump has even said that himself. He's explicitly said that he wants to go in and get all of Venezuela's oil. Like, how could anyone believe that the U.S. wants to send troops to the country with the largest oil reserves in the entire world for freedom and democracy, or to stop narco-trafficking? We know what you did in Iraq. You can't fool us with this anymore. And you know what'll happen if the U.S. military topples the Venezuelan government? It'll create a whole bunch of Venezuelan refugees. And they'll come right here to America, where Trump and his friends will scapegoat them for all of our economic problems. These people create immigrants and then they blame them for everything. Hands off Venezuela, you scumbags.
So just to remind you that Trump actually did say that he was going to steal the oil. Remember this? Watch this. When was this from? This is from a campaign rally in the fall of 2024.
How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
We would have taken over Venezuela. We would have gotten all their oil.
Yeah.
It's right. That's what this is all about.
Wait.
Trump, Mr. Peacemaker, is using the military to steal natural resources from another country for corporate America. Just no matter who you vote for, you get John McCain.
Wait, remember when the stupid sanction on Russia that made our gas go up? Remember
Yes.
that genius move of oil sanctions that hurt us? So they went and had to beg Maduro for oil.
Remember that? Remember that? I remember that.
Oh, it was about to collapse. Juan Guaidó, the guy that moved back there, if it's so bad, that makes no sense, and gets beaten up by people in restaurants that just live there because they hate his guts. We had to blow this guy for oil just a couple years ago.
Just a couple of years ago. That's a good point, Kurt. The U.S. sends 3 warships toward the coast of Venezuela. Maduro mobilizes 4.5 militia members, 4.5 million militia members. 3 U.S. Aegis guided missile destroyers are set to arrive off Venezuela's coast within 24 hours, part of the Trump administration's effort to counter threats from Latin American drug cartels. Okay. He already told us what the real deal is when he was campaigning in 2024. This is because he wants to steal their oil.
Venezuela's below Colombia, right? I'm not making that up. Colombia's above Venezuela on the map, so you would probably go to Colombia first. Oh, that's right. Sean Ryan and all kinds of great Navy SEAL podcasts come out of dealing drugs in Colombia.
Right. As per Reuters, the deployed American ships are the USS who cares what the name are? The U.S. military had also previously announced on August 22nd that air and naval forces would be deployed to the Caribbean with more than 4,000 sailors and Marines as the Trump administration shows increasing willingness to use military force to combat drug trafficking in Latin America. That's not what this is. They're not combating drug trafficking. These military assets are to operate in international waters and international airspaces across several months. Okay. The mobilization of the U.S. military assets follows Washington's recent decision to increase the bounty on Maduro's capture, doubling it to an unprecedented $50 million U.S. dollars. Last week, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced the seizure of assets worth $700 million U.S. dollars from the Venezuelan head of state. So this is the same stuff they do all the time. This is it. Does anybody?
Well, when Trump announced Juan Guaidó the rightful ruler of Venezuela, that's the one spot Nancy Pelosi wasn't getting up and tearing his speech apart.
Yeah,
they were all bipartisan together on that stupid shit.
Well, I'm going to tell you, World War III, 4, and 5 are going to happen before there's an official release of the Epstein Files.
Or anything.
In an official statement published on Tuesday, the Venezuelan government says the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela observes with total clarity the desperation of the United States administration, which resorts to threats and defamation against our country. Washington's accusation that Venezuela is involved in drug trafficking reveals their lack of credibility and the failure of its policies in the region.
I can't argue with that.
In response to the increased U.S. military presence in the Caribbean, President Maduro announced a plan to mobilize 4.5 million militia members across the country. This would be part of a plan of peace with militias that would be prepared, active, and armed, the leader said on live television. Maduro then further urged his political base to mobilize into rural and industrial militias, rifles and missiles for the rural forces to defend Venezuela's territory, sovereignty, and peace, he claimed. Speaking to allies at a political event on Monday evening, Maduro affirmed to defend sovereignty. Our seas, our skies, and our lands are defended by us, liberated by us, guarded and patrolled by us. No empire will come to touch the sacred soil of Venezuela, nor should it touch the sacred soil of South America. No empire in the world. He did not mention the U.S. ship deployments. The leader did, however, question the presence of U.S. military bases in Colombia, which he qualified as an humiliation to the history of independence in the region. There are approximately 76 U.S. military bases in Latin America. But according to the U.S. Department of 76 U.S. military bases.
Can't stop the drug flow with them bases?
In Latin America.
Oh, that's weird. They got to go further south.
But according to the U.S. Department of State, the U.S. provides security assistance to Colombia to promote the country's stability and security. Really? That's what they're doing?
Amazing job, guys. Amazing work. You should do great in Venezuela. That's going to work out great.
Let's just remind you one more time what this is all about.
How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
We would have got so that's why you put economic sanctions on Venezuela, to try to collapse their economy so their government collapses, and so then we could go in, install a puppet like Juan Guaidó who's friendly to American corporations, and then we could steal their oil and their natural resources. That's what this is all about.
Well, it would be funny if if our government collapses before any of these governments they are trying to collapse. Wouldn't that be? I mean, I won't enjoy it because I live here, but I could see how you'd laugh.
Do you remember when they tried to coup the government in Venezuela just a couple of years ago? And
we didn't send our best.
And they when Trump was president, and they tried to pretend that Juan Guaidó was the real legitimate president of Venezuela, even though when Juan Guaidó goes to a restaurant in Venezuela, the citizens beat the crap out of him. He can't go out.
Why would he move back there?
So this is from Al Jazeera. This is from May 7th, 2020. A coup attempt was allegedly foiled in Venezuela. The 2 U.S. citizens have been arrested by Maduro's government, and a Florida security company has claimed responsibility for the incursion. Those are my guys. This is real. Here we go.
Just pay piglets?
So we know what happened.
Hello.
We know what happened. Pelosi claps as Trump calls Nicolas Maduro a socialist dictator before giving a standing ovation as he introduces failed fascist coup leader Juan Guaidó. The bipartisan agenda to topple socialism and destabilize the region in the name of big oil interests is on full display. Let's watch.
Is leading a 59-nation diplomatic coalition against the socialist dictator of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. Maduro is an illegitimate ruler, a tyrant who brutalizes his people, but Maduro's grip on tyranny will be smashed and broken. Here this evening is a very brave man who carries with him the hopes, dreams, and aspirations of all Venezuelans. Joining us in the gallery is the true and legitimate president of Venezuela, Juan Guaidó. Mr. President, please take this message back to your family.
There it is.
Well, he
That's
carries the hopes and dreams of the surviving Koch brothers.
I like as he's sending the military into cities and arresting people, homeless people, and he's claiming Maduro is a guy who's a brutal dictator and a tyrant to his own people, brutalizes his own people. As Trump puts 45,
no.
yeah.
Why don't we invade England if we're worried about shit like that?
Yeah. And by the way, we're never going to defeat Venezuela. How do I know? Because we haven't done it for 80 years.
You know, name the wars we won. Don't say Grenada. I'm not counting it.
Yeah. Name a war we won.
That's something, isn't it? To have a military-industrial complex and then never win a war ever the fuck again. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I'm sure that's not the problem.
I actually have jokes about Venezuela. You can come see me tell those jokes in Rutherford, New Jersey, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Appleton, Wisconsin, Rosemont, Chicago, Louisville, Kentucky, Fort Wayne, Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, and San Francisco. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets. We'll see you there. All right, folks, you're not going to hear this in the mainstream. Bank of America just warned that the United States dollar has plunged over 9% so far in 2025, one of the worst drops in decades. And the bank is now predicting a serious collapse in the dollar's value if the national debt and trade tensions continue to spiral. Well, the debt certainly is. Now, listen, when the dollar craters, your bank account doesn't just lose value, it gets eaten alive by inflation. That's why I've teamed up with Monetary Gold. These are the guys who deal in real physical gold and silver, stuff you can actually hold, vault, and rely on. No Wall Street middlemen. So here's what you do. Head over to jimmylovesgold.com, download their free gold protection guide, or pick up the phone and call toll-free at 800-476-7790. That's 800-476-7790. Protect your wealth before the dollar hits the wall. Visit jimmylovesgold.com or call 800-476-7790 right now. Time's running out. Don't wait until it's too late. Come see me on tour in Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Appleton, Wisconsin, Rosemont, Illinois, Chicago, Louisville, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.